So here we are back with the man with the horns. It's like 30 seconds later after the last YouTube, but you see it 1 week at a time. So what can I tell you? Anyway, I was talking about the first time I played the Fifth Symphony of Gustav Mahler with the Bamberg Symphony Orchestra. And I was still actually a member of the German Opera am Rhein in Dusseldorf. This is like the summer of 1979. And I'm sitting at the foot of the Acropolis in the Herodias Atticus Theater. That's 3,000 seatings. The Herodias Atticus was the governor, Roman governor of Athens, and this is in the 3rd or 4th century after Christ. In any event, this was an interesting experience because Mr. Heinz Wolf, who had been the third first trumpet in the orchestra, was practicing my introduction backstage before the concert. This is about as rude and as stupid a thing that you can possibly do to a colleague. And if there's any way that you can destroy another person's nerves, is to practice his solo introduction to the Fifth Symphony of Mahler backstage before his very first concert. I've experienced a lot of rude and hurtful things in my life, but I can remember, you can imagine what that would be like. But to his chagrin, I came out and sat down and played perfectly, and continued as the solo trumpet in the orchestra after that. And well, there are nice people and there are less nice people in this world. And sometimes you have to prove it, and even though people are trying to trip you up, then you have to consider really about your whole technique, and you bring all your nerves together. So that's why it's good to start when you're young. I think it's important for Mike to turn off his telephone that was just ringing in his pocket, and we can then go on with this mouthpiece that I finally did find. Is the RG mouthpieces, rotary valve German backbore, that I promised to let you hear the difference of. And once again, the beginning of the Fifth Symphony of Mahler. First of all, breathing, as I talked about in early. I want to explain a little bit about this. It says in the music, Kalmus, New York, music, printed, wie ein Kondukt. Ein Kondukt is like the old signals of a trumpeter in the times of the Renaissance and historical times when the trumpet was a signal instrument. The Germans call it Befehl. It's a command to arms, command to war. You have to understand that the trumpet it's an archetypical instrument and has been involved in the God and praise of God in the temples. If the two pure silver instruments that were made by, were commanded to be made by Solomon in the 7th, 8th century before Christ. They were played in the synagogue in Jerusalem, and by the way, taken away by Titus after they came to Jerusalem and stole the Ark of the Covenant and whatever, and brought them back to Rome. You can actually see the Titus bogan there, and there's a picture of those two pure silver trumpets nailed to the Ark of the Covenant that they're carrying as a prize after that. But that's again history. What I'm talking about, though, is rotary valve trumpet and the Fifth Symphony of Gustav Mahler. So you can imagine that high note, at that high note is when the whole orchestra comes in together, and it's a 115-piece orchestra with cymbals for that one note. And then the trumpet continues on alone. And so this is quite the hurrah, and it's a lot of stress for trumpet. So as I was saying, having a colleague practicing your solo behind the stage before you play your very first concert with the ensemble, just to screw up your life, is no nice thing to do. Still, I forgave Mr. Heinz Wolf for his stupidity, but I'll never forget. And it's good for you to remember that you have to be ready for this kind of thing in life. Not everybody's on your side, and not everybody wants you to be successful at what you do. They think maybe, even if they can't do it anymore, because Heinz was a first trumpet player, about 55 years old at that time, and could never have taken the job himself, but somehow talked himself into believing that he was the greatest. And believe me, there is no greatest. There's only people doing their best. And a colleague is there to help you do your best in the orchestra. And the difference between a good and a very good solo trumpet is always his second trumpet and his support. So, having said that, and the importance of what I just said, I'd like to end this YouTube for today in the hopes that you will tune in for The Man with the Horns, Richard Carson Steuart, where I talk about the importance of using the right instrument for the right piece and playing with the right musicians at the right time. Bye for now.